doing, Mikey boy? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Tanek027 and welcome back to Tanek FPS. And guys, I know it's been a while, things on the channel have been a little bit scarce here lately, but like I told you guys in the previous video, in case you did not see, when Highguard got shut down, I just got a little discouraged with making shooter content. And not because, it's Highguard itself. It just seems like every game I fall in love with gets hit with the shaft. You guys saw, I started with Rogue Company, and then you see where that went. I did a lot of Paladins content, you'll see where that went, and then I tried something with Highguard, and I'm just like, like Valorant's always going to be my main thing in the background, but it's just like, whenever I have another game I enjoy, it gets flopped on, and it sucks. Alright, that's all. But in today's video, what I want to talk about, and it's not the most popular topic, I'm not going to lie, but Valorant coming to Switch 2. This is something I've really been wanting. If you watch me a lot on my main channel, you'll know I've been favoring Nintendo's brand new hybrid console here a lot. I'm really enjoying the current generation of Nintendo, and I want to see what they have in store for the future. But if you've been seeing the Switch 2, one thing you'll notice is it's been getting a ton, and I mean a ton of third-party support. From a lot of free-to-play games and, third-party big AAA titles and stuff like that. Hell, the game handled Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata at 60 FPS. Big, beefy, next, or I'm going to say current generation games. And my thing is just, where the hell is Valorant? Now, with all due respect, the Switch 2 has barely been here a year. They very well could be cooking it up. I'm probably just being an impatient little fanboy, because I'm going to be realistic. In my opinion, they put Valorant on mobile. They've put it on console. They saw the potential in both of those places. Why would they not put it on the system that is a hybrid of both of those things? That would just be insane. in my opinion, at least. So, since everybody's always, and the big thing now is AI this, AI that, I decided to ask a certain person what they thought about Valorant console coming to Switch 2. And I want to show you guys the interesting results that I got. I asked ChatGPT.
Hey yo, what the fuck? Really, nigga?
Now, granted, this is just an AI prediction from ChatGPT. This means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. It's just going to give its own estimates based on internet data. But this is something, that a piece of artificial intelligence, from what it knows about these specs of the Switch 2, and what kind of results we could hope to possibly get for Valorant if it comes to Nintendo Switch 2, which I'm hoping it does. So let's go ahead and see what ChatGPT had to say. I asked ChatGPT straight up, hey Chat, do you think Switch 2 could run Valorant at 120 FPS? Or would it be better at 60 FPS on Switch 2? ChatGPT went and responded and said, yeah, I actually think the Nintendo Switch 2 could realistically run Valorant at 120 FPS in some form, but there are a few catches. And it goes to say, here's the practical breakdown. 1080p docked 120 FPS is possible if Riot optimized aggressively and lowered some visual settings, shadows, effects, etc., etc. Handheld mode, they said, is much more likely for 60 FPS. And that, personally, I can agree. And they also say, remember, Valorant, they have a competitive priority. Valorant is built around responsiveness over graphics, so Riot would probably prioritize frame rate first, which makes sense by the way that they optimize their games. ChatGPT also goes to say the biggest reason I think 120 FPS is possible is Valorant is actually a lightweight game compared to stuff like Call of Duty Warzone or Overwatch, which is true, guys. Keep in mind, my PC, when I had my Ryzen 3 at the time, I could still run Valorant at almost 120 FPS. I was averaging anywhere between 90 and 110. And that was with decent settings, using a Ryzen 3. Yeah. It says, it already runs on low-end PCs with integrated graphics, like I was just telling you guys. The art style is intentionally optimized for esports performance. That said, I think Riot would probably choose one of these setups on Switch 2. Mode handheld, likely target 60 FPS. Mode docked performance mode, 120 FPS. Mode docked quality mode, 60 FPS with higher visuals. There's also another important factor. The Switch 2 display itself is 120Hz capable, which makes 120 FPS mode more meaningful than it was on the original Switch. And it goes to say, in the end, my guess would be 60 FPS guaranteed, 120 FPS possible, but likely optional and performance focused. And honestly, even a locked 60 FPS Valorant on Switch 2 would probably feel excellent because Riot's netcode and input response are already super optimized. And guys, I have to agree with that. If Valorant came out on Switch 2 and it was only locked at 60, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But if you're a Switch player and you want to have Valorant on your console, let me know your thoughts. Do you want Valorant at 120 FPS? I mean, obviously you probably do. But would you be fine with it being locked at 60 if it happens? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.